I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Wakanda.
Just drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
You will not be taking our pod today, sir.
Well, are you making your voice deeper?
No, you are. You're imitating the God-Man. It's weird.
No, I'm not.
He just did it again.
This is my voice.
Iron Man.
And I am Flo.
And I am Gabe. How are you?
I think that was okay.
I hope so. And
Yeah.
we have no frame of reference until we finish this episode, how this just sounded. In case we change the intro, this makes no sense.
I really hope the intro works. How you doing? Welcome back, everyone, to another special episode of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. We've already said our names. I'm doing okay, man. I mean, stressed because this is a list that I think we should be honest here. You texted me yesterday, let's change the special subject and let's do the MCU instead, which wasn't the subject that we talked about doing the MCU. So
there's a big back and forth of what we should do for this week's special, and we landed on rom-coms, which is a cool genre. I mean, we both have a lot of rom-coms that we absolutely love. But since we do, we've talked about so many of them before, so we decided against it. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much a last-minute list. Luckily, I started rewatching the MCU a month ago.
That wasn't even in preparation for this.
Yeah, not even. I mean, I never could have prepared for this, because otherwise we would have said, okay, let's do the special. And then about a week before we do it, I would have started watching stuff, which is not enough time for the 20+ movies we got out there.
Sure.
And I'd get burned out just watching the same guys all over again.
Oh, dude, I did that before Endgame. I rewatched the entire MCU. I didn't
how
do
much
it in
time?
a week. I don't quite remember, but it was fun, but it was a struggle too. I mean, I did have to cram in a couple of films towards the end when I didn't have enough time. But yeah, I mean, you said it. The rom-coms thing, we talked about quite a few things already. Mm-hmm. And the MCU, we've always excluded. We've excluded it from actors lists. I remember it on the Bradley Cooper special. Or there was one other thing. I think Scarlett Johansson.
For example, yeah.
We always
Matt
excluded it. Yeah, of course. But who wasn't in the MCU? I mean, by now, every actor ever living was in that. But now let's do it. I mean, Shang-Chi came out a couple of weeks ago by now. And we got the Eternals coming soon. We got Spider-Man, what is it, No Way Home?
Yeah, I think so.
Coming soon. We got Hawkeye coming soon. So
is that this year?
That is this year.
All right.
So it feels like an adequate time to talk about our favorite MCU things, which can also include the new shows now. Which we talked about in depth often, right? I think we discussed every single show.
How many are there now? 3?
Well, I don't know if Agent Carter is in that, for example. I'm talking about the Disney Plus, the new ones that are in the MCU.
WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and What If is now out. Have you seen this?
Right.
Because I haven't, so this is not going to be on my list.
I haven't touched it, no.
Okay.
No. But I've heard good things about it, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things as well, but I'm still unsure. But I guess I got to watch it before our next regular episode. Is that when they finish up, or is it the week after?
Oh, dude, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
You can take your time with that one.
Good.
But, right, MCU, I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which has become a staple in today's cinemas for, over the past, I don't know how many, 10 years almost. It's been dominating this scene. When did you first, really get into this?
Well, I loved Iron Man, the first one, when it came out. I saw it in cinemas. I loved the movie. I loved everything about it. But I never, got into it after that until Civil War, where we started going to the cinemas. I think this came out close to when we started to go to cinemas together, and I was like, okay, let's do this. It's a big thing. I've heard so many good things about the movies, but I never watched them, so I binged nearly all of them before watching Civil War. Right. And ever since then, I've seen pretty much everything. I think I've seen actually everything that's come out except for, Agent Carter, for example.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you get into it like from the get-go, or did you take your time as well?
No, I was maybe a bit different in like, I also like loved the Iron Man in the cinemas, loved it. Did I say I loved it in cinemas? I watched it in cinemas. But I never, because I'm not a comic book guy.
Sure.
I never knew that they were building like a universe. So I didn't know that, for example, Thor was going to be connected with Iron Man.
Sure, yeah.
So I distinctly remember a group of friends asking me if I wanted to see Thor. And I went like, no, I have no interest in it.
Nerds.
And then, right. But then, I don't know when it was exactly, but maybe around like Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even like, I did see like Avengers in cinemas, and also like, I don't remember now exactly, but a couple of films here and there, all the Iron Mans, but I skipped all the Captain Americas and the Thors. I did watch Avengers, but it wasn't until I think Ultron where I really got into it and rewatched the entire thing, and now it's one of my favorite cinematic universes. And I mean, it has been like oversaturated the market with superhero movies, definitely. But I'm still going to be first in line for the new one. So, yeah.
Even Eternals? I mean, you even said that you're not that into Eternals.
Yeah. No, I want to see it, though. I want to see if my... I agree. As I said it before, I don't really have the highest expectations for that, but I want to see if I'm right.
Sure. The MCU is the Pokemon of movie franchises. You got to watch them all. Gotta watch them all.
Yeah. That was a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Because that was so accurate. Yeah. So this is going to be fun. I mean, I haven't. You rewatched them. I haven't. The last time I rewatched it was before Endgame, which is already like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like a bit less, but yeah. But let's talk about them. I mean, we got, I think our lists are going to be quite different. But please, tell everyone how the show works, and then let's talk about our favorite MCU thing. And maybe you can explain what the MCU is for people who haven't heard of it. I don't know.
Okay, who hasn't heard of the MCU?
Well, like maybe older people.
What older people listening to this podcast?
We have very old demographic.
Do we?
I have no idea.
Anything above 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome back to another special episode. Here we talk about the best thing that we've seen from a certain genre, a certain person, or here from a certain franchise. So here we talk about the best thing we've seen from the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, now also including TV shows, like you mentioned. And yeah, we're going to do this in the form of a top 10 list. We're going to count them down to the best thing that we've seen from that franchise. We have no idea what each other's lists look like, although I think we have a bit of an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea, because there's so many things, so many movies that I think we haven't really talked about much since we saw them before we went to start going to cinemas together, or haven't watched them together. So yeah, I'm excited to hear if there are any older movies like, I don't know, Iron Man 2 on this list, although I doubt it.
Spoiler alert, that one's not going to make my list,
okay.
Even though I do love Sam Rockwell.
I once again forgot that he's in there.
Yeah, man. I think it's Justin Hammer.
Time. Yeah.
That's a name that's sticking with me for some reason.
I mean, now that I started rewatching this, every time I watch a movie, I haven't finished all of them.
Where are you right now?
For Ragnarok. Haven't finished it. Okay. I'm halfway through.
Right.
Every time I see it, it's like, right, that person is in there, and that person's what?
Yeah,
I told you, like, what's his name? Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
Whom I talked about when I talked about Lucky. He's in the fucking Avengers, and like, I completely forgot about this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, I understand it. There's so many people in those movies. I mean, it's easy to get lost.
So yeah, like I said, sorry, it's a top 10 list. If Flo has something on his number 10 and I have it on my, let's say, 3, we might postpone the discussion for later, or otherwise we're just going to talk about it and why we think that movie deserves a spot in this list of the how many movies are there now? 25, 26?
I think, see, that's a great question. I was trying to look it up. I think it's 25 films and 3 shows.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I think so. Apologies. I have 25 movies in front of me right now. So,
Okay.
Yeah. I'll look it up again. But I think it's right. I think it's right.
I'm so excited to hear if Shang-Chi made your list. But I guess I'll find out, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we have anything else to discuss, or are we diving right in?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's your time to turn to start. So, yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking at 6. We have 9, 12. We have 15. We have 18. We have 21. We have... Okay, that list stops at... Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I think we're right.
25?
I think it's 25, yes.
All right.
Well, my number 10 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Wow.
And I looked at my list and I was like, it seems very like I need to spice it up a little bit, because otherwise we would talk about certain franchises more than I'd like to. Because there's like 3 films in one franchise, the franchises within.
Sure,
Little like Captain America's, Iron Man movies, whatever. Right? So I decided to pop it in there because I'll talk about the movie that it sort of kicked out for my number 10 spot afterwards when we do our honorables.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, it's the most recent one, so I feel like I can talk about it. The other ones, I'm going to need some help because it's been a while. But,
well, no surprise, it's not on my list, so this is all yours.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to ask. I knew that. But, no, I mean, we talked about this movie in depth, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm still in the same boat. I haven't seen it again. I do plan on rewatching it sooner rather than later, though. I actually saw it's going to be on Disney Plus in November. So
already,
yeah. I think that's a good thing, though. Like that seems like a fair and reasonable thing, right? To have like 2 months where it's just in theaters, and then afterwards you can get it on Disney Plus.
Well, since it's a like big Disney film, I don't really mind. Since some of them I don't mind waiting until they get on Disney Plus. And I don't think they'll suffer like financially from it. So in that case, I'm fine with it because I'm not gonna rewatch it after like a month in cinemas. But with like Dune, if it came out after a month already on like HBO Plus, which it is,
yeah,
I'm not a fan, but sure, yeah.
I think it strikes the right balance of like you because if diehard fans are not gonna wait 2 months to see it at home, they're gonna go and see it in theaters. But the casual viewer can see it at home in a couple of months. So,
sure.
Yeah. No, I like Shang-Chi. I like the music, as I said before. I still listen to especially the end credit track, "Fire in the Sky" by Anderson .Paak. That's a fantastic song.
I thought you were talking about Hotel California.
No.
Okay, but that's what you talked about like 2 weeks ago. Okay, Hotel California.
No, I said the end credit song. I mean, I can understand why you think of Hotel California.
Sure,
but no,
yeah.
I'm literally no.
Gotcha. Okay.
No. But I mean, I feel like we've talked about this one really like 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And I wanted to include it because it hasn't like grown on me, but I stick by everything I said. I really think this is one of the best action films in the MCU. Got some of the best action scenes in the film. In the universe. I liked Simu Liu. I liked the villain. What was it? Tony Leung, something like that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name.
He's got like a 3-part name. I've got it.
Yeah. I think the common name is just the first and last name, and you actually slid in the middle name too, which took me by surprise.
It's his IMDb name. I don't know.
Right.
It's your official name.
You're more formal with him than I am. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in the MCU going forward. I mean, we talked about this too, that you're more like the fan of martial arts. I know you said no, you're more of a fan of like the Japanese films, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice little change in the MCU in terms of combat and the whole mystical thing. And I loved the visuals of this. And as I said before, that I think Daniel Cretton directed the hell out of it. So I decided to put it in there. I'm at number 10 though.
I get it. I mean, it's one of the best looking movies on this list this in this franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got at 10?
Well, my number 10 was also a struggle. When we get to the honorable mentions, or if you say this movie, I'm going to tell you. So, okay. This isn't on my list. It was knocked out by my number 10, which is Iron Man 3 by Shane Black.
Wow. See, that's not on my list at all.
Okay. Not at all. Okay.
It's not even at all. It's not even in the honorables, no.
Yeah, I liked it. I gotta say, I'm a fan of this movie. I was surprised by it because it does have a bit of a different structure than the rest of them. especially with, first of all, in the way they tell the story, and also with kind of an Iron Man kind of starting anew in a way and kind of redefining himself. In this movie, we got, this is very fitting, we got the Mandarin as the villain, which is talked about in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Iron Man 3, should we go over the plots? Because, first of all, spoiler warning,
I was going to
say,
thank you. Yes, I forgot to say this. I think we should do spoilers. Definitely.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Please, if you haven't watched the films, then do so and come back.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about spoilers, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much I have to talk about the plot here, since I hope everybody has seen all the MCU movies by now.
Yeah, I think we don't have to.
But yeah, I gotta say, I thought the action was great. I really liked the ending of like the end action scene with all the suits coming onto the ship.
That's with
like
Pepper Potts
control.
like as well, right?
With Pepper Potts, yeah.
Yeah. With I actually like that film too. It's just that I like almost all of the MCU films. So even though I said it's not on my honorables, it's actually like, I think it's a good film. I remember loving it in theaters. Actually, I saw this with my dad, and it's typical Shane Black humor too, which I appreciate.
Yeah, that's a great part of it, and I think like it's the best Iron Man with Tony Stark as in having more to do as a character, you know?
Yes.
Because you just see his struggle way more, whereas in the first one, he,
he's a badass.
Develops his identity as a superhero, and yeah, he's a badass. That's pretty much it. In the second one, I don't remember the second one because I fucking hate it.
It's not as bad as people make it out to be.
Yeah, I really didn't like it, but sure. I also like Mickey Rourke as the villain. Didn't really grab me.
Yeah.
But I've just as a
Whiplash.
character as Whiplash, yeah.
Yeah.
But here he just struggles, and also with Pepper Potts, I thought his character was the most interesting here.
You prefer this to Iron Man 1?
Not quite.
Okay.
I think Iron Man 1 just still got the nostalgia fact for me.
Sure.
You can, I think, figure it out. So it's going to be in this list as well.
Yeah. Who's the villain in this? I see his face. I can't think of his name.
Well, the Mandarin, but yeah, since we are doing spoilers, I don't remember his name actually. I rewatched this recently. But it's the science guy.
Yeah, I know exactly who it is. What's his name? Clive? No.
I got it open here.
Oh,
his name is
the Memento guy.
Aldrich Killian in the movie, but it's Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce. Jesus. Yeah. Clive Owen, Guy Pearce.
Of course. Yeah, Memento. That's where I know him from.
You know Guy Pearce. He's in movies.
Of course. Yeah. But I couldn't place him for some reason.
Yeah. Does this one have, because you rewatched this recently, right?
Yeah.
Does this one have that scene at the end where, that might be the second one with, I think it's the second one with Rhodes, where they both like shoot at each other in that little utopian dome?
Oh yeah, that's the second one, I think. Yeah,
I love
with
that.
War Machine.
With Rhodes, right?
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, I've mixed up Rhodes with what's Jon Favreau's name in the series?
Happy.
That's him.
Right. I love that ending, but that's Iron Man 2.
That's a cool scene.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like Iron Man 2.
But Iron Man 3, you got the ending at that harbor thing, right? With that that shipyard. How do you say that? At the docks,
sure.
right?
Sure.
And yeah, you got Pepper Potts flying in a suit, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, towards the end. No, she's kidnapped, and then she gets. She doesn't get a suit. She doesn't fight in a suit even. It's just because she's implanted with that weird serum,
right?
Which doesn't kill her, and then she becomes like awesome and fights the bad guy.
Right. I
think she doesn't get a suit until Infinity War. Does she wear one in Infinity War? Or was it just Endgame?
See, you're listening to absolute professionals here. You're listening to fans of the franchise. We know them all inside and out.
Yeah.
No, we're struggling, but
Yeah, if you wonder what like a last-minute list looks like, this is it.
You rewatched them.
I just
rewatched them.
No, I'm just kidding. But interesting enough, on the last note, it was supposed to have the end credit scene of a post-credit scene of Iron Man flying out into space and meeting Guardians of the Galaxy, which would have been so weird because then they would have like had to change everything around, and also wouldn't have been the first meeting with the Avengers, with the Guardians. But apparently they didn't do that because Robert Downey Jr. was thinking about leaving the MCU.
Is that right? That sounds like a rumor.
Maybe, could be.
I don't know.
I read it on the internet, so
it must be
true.
With
a grain of salt. Yeah.
The third one also has Rebecca Hall, right?
Yeah, in a small role. Well, medium.
Where she betrays him, doesn't she? She like works for Guy Pearce in the end.
She
right?
like comes along in the beginning and then shortly in the ending.
Right.
But
It's got all these
it's a quick
flashbacks
ending.
too, right? Yeah, I remember it somehow.
And the kids. I really liked the kid and Tony Stark's interactions.
The kid? Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
it helps
Yeah,
him.
of course. Yeah, of course. That has an appearance in Endgame.
Does he?
That's the kid at the funeral. Do you remember that? Where the whole audience went like, "What? Who the fuck's that guy?"
Yeah.
That's Iron Man 3. That's the kid from Iron Man 3. Yeah.
Dude, so many things that I'm still not getting about
See,
this
I'm
universe.
here for you. I'm here for you.
So yeah, that's my 10. What's your
Right.
number 9?
My number 9 is actually the first Avengers. So the
Oh.
Avengers. Is that
Mhm.
higher for you?
It's not even on my list.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
would have been if I had not rewatched it and was like, this is all right, but not that great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, my problem with this one is, and I'm sad about that because when that came out, I wasn't as invested in the MCU yet. I said it in the beginning. I hadn't seen all the films that were leading up to that sort of epic, almost finale of them all meeting up.
Sure, yeah.
So I watched it because I saw Iron Man was in it. And for that reason, I feel like I never really understood its magic because that was more like later on in the MCU for me when I was more invested in it. But I think it's still a great film. I mean, it's a great achievement to sort of put all these people together that were built up across their own films, and then you have this epic fight. You get Loki for the first time, who you can say what you want about him, but I think he's definitely one of the better villains of the MCU, and definitely an iconic character. And it's got epic scenes. I mean, that scene of course it's in New York when they're all like that hero moment when the camera goes like around them all, and I liked it. I agree though with you that I don't think it's as good as other people say it is, especially comparing it to the other like team up films. I do like it more than Ultron.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's still. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it's on there for the achievement of it. It because that
Sure.
sort of it paved the way for how the MCU was going to go forward. And if that movie had sucked, it would have all been for nothing. But it was really, really good, and they sort of expanded on that from that point on.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I first watched the Avengers, because I knew like Iron Man was out and I didn't pay it much attention. I didn't really know about the team up at first, but then, Captain America was coming out, so I knew, okay, this is it's gonna build up to. So I knew, okay, there's gonna be team ups, but so I rewatched all the movies or watched them for the first time back then, and when I first saw Avengers, I was blown away. Like, you can do that, like mix up movies and then all get them in the same adventure. I thought it was so fucking cool the first time I saw it. Kind of blew me away, to be honest. But having rewatched it, I think just having watched this and of course the later movies, just the action and the movie just doesn't look as good as the others later. And I think that's also true for like the first Captain America and also the early Iron Mans.
Yeah.
There's just this huge fucking gap between this and the later movies. Like if you compare it to Spider-Man, like the cinematography, just the way the movies, it's better filmmaking in a way, and the action just looks so much better. I talked about this with like action just cutting away way too much in like fight scenes. They do it way better in the later movies. Of course, Shang-Chi is great at that. You're right about the action there, but also Spider-Man, the Thor movie, also like Civil War even does it better later with the action. I think it just looks way better. So I think the memory of Avengers is great, but if you're just in the mood for an MCU movie, I think I would prefer some of the other movies over this.
I mean, I kind of get what you mean, but it's also like because the technology did improve over the years. I mean, this is an earlier film of the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's going to get better in terms of technology. But in terms of action, I can understand what you're saying. But it does have these, like, for example, the Hulk smash thing where he smashes Loki around. It's got these, like, iconic scenes in it. And for those reasons, it made my list. Yeah.
I mean, the ending is cool with the New York fight scene. That's true.
And when they're eating a burger or whatever, a shawarma. Is that I know it's not real, right? That's not a real restaurant, or is it?
It's a real restaurant, and I mean, shawarma is a real thing, yeah.
What is that?
Shawarma, it's pretty much durum. It's like...
Is it Turkish? Oh yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's Turkish or like Middle Eastern. It's like thinly cut meat from like this roast bit. Maybe also some bread and like yogurt sauce and salads. It's pretty much what we get here. Maybe it's
Right.
a bit different.
No, but what I meant before is there's no shawarma chain in America, right? They made.
I don't know if there's a chain, but it's a real restaurant apparently. Because once you watch these movies, their YouTube feed is full of that shit. So I got recommended like some behind the scenes things for like Avengers, and then there was this one thing where they said that they filmed the scene like the day before it came out, and then edited it in really quickly.
Yeah,
and apparently they did film in a real restaurant. So
yeah. And I think Evans either he has a broken jaw or a broken arm, and he couldn't eat, and so he's just like hiding that and just sitting still in the scene. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't remember which injury he had, but definitely one.
I just heard apparently shawarma sales skyrocketed after that.
Of course
scene.
they did. Yeah, of course they did.
Even I was kind of in the mood for shawarma after seeing it.
Right. What's your 9?
My 9 is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, good one. Not on my list, but good one. Yeah.
Because when I made this list, a lot of the picks that I have on here is just because I think they're funner than some of the other movies. The other like Avengers, really cool when I first saw them, but like Doctor Strange and other things that I'm going to talk about just have this rewatch value way more than others. And Doctor Strange, I rewatched this like a year ago.
Yeah. Not
even now. And it was fun. Just once again. I mean, of course, Mads Mikkelsen is in there, which gave it some extra points. But yeah, the interaction. I mean, I still love the line of, "What's your name?" Sorry, what is it? Like, fuck, I forgot the fucking quote. Like, strange, yeah, but I'm not here to judge. Fuck, I ruined the joke, but fuck it. Watch the movie.
I thought you were going to say Dormammu have come to bargain or whatever.
Oh, it's also a great scene. Yeah, it has these great scenes, and first of all, great actors. I mean, just apart from the MCU, those are fucking great actors. Both Benedict Cumberbatch, Mads Mikkelsen, and Rachel McAdams. Did I give Doctor Strange a place on my Rachel McAdams list?
I think we mentioned it in our honorables. I think.
Okay. I might have rewatched the movie actually for the Rachel McAdams special for some reason. Could be. It's not her biggest role, but
yeah, it was a bit of a waste to use her. She's such a great actress in such a small part, but I was happy to see her.
You can also say that with like Natalie Portman and Thor, and 100%. I mean even Gwyneth Paltrow.
But she's got but they both got bigger parts than Rachel McAdams does. I mean, she never really has. She's never coming back. Rachel McAdams.
Fair enough.
Or maybe she is. I don't know. I was happy because this was Benedict Cumberbatch's sort of really breakthrough as an A-lister, and now he's maybe like the head of the Avengers now. I mean, that dude, it's unbelievable. Going forward, I mean, he's definitely one of the last like OGs because every other person is fucked off.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm kind of still hanging on to what might come next, because if he dropped out as well, the only cool character that I was looking forward to would be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be enough. So yeah, I'm glad he's still around because he's a cool character, and we've seen him pretty much the least of the big heroes since he's only been in Doctor Strange very shortly in Thor, Ragnarok, and then of course back in the Avengers, the last two, Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought also it just, once again, the movie looks great. I really like the effect of how they do like the portals and the whole teleportation, this whole mind thing. Also when he first gets transported into like the spirit world, or like not quite the material world by
Tilda Swinton.
What's her name? Tilda Swinton. Thank you very much. And you also got, of course, Benedict Wong.
Yeah.
Wong.
Yeah.
And this great scene where he listens to Beyonce in his study. And this is a great scene. It was a great moment in the cinema as well. This is why those movies are also great to watch in the cinemas. So first of all, there's the fan base there, so you always know you got people who are actually invested in these movies when you watch them.
Yeah.
Which just gives you way bigger reactions, which is always just so fun to watch.
Just because you brought it up, like specifically the Beyonce thing, I want to mention a story now. I want to tell a story now that I forgot to mention on the Shang-Chi episode, I think. Because you're absolutely right. Benedict Wong, or Wong in the MCU, he dances to or he sings along to Beyonce, right?
I know what you're about to say.
I know it because I'm so proud of it. So at the end of Shang-Chi, a little smaller spoiler here, they obviously, I mean, you said it before already, they have like a karaoke scene and they sing Hotel California, which was mentioned in the beginning of the film. I leaned over to a friend of ours and I said, like, man, why didn't they sing Beyonce, right? Just because it's Wong. And I was proud there. And he goes like, yeah, they should do Put a Ring on It. And then we literally looked at each other because when he said it, he didn't even realize how genius it was because of the Legend of the Ten Rings. And we looked at each other and we're like, damn it, we should write these films. So, because I think actually in Doctor Strange, he sings along to If You Like It, Then You Should Have Put a Ring on It, right? So why in the world they didn't sing this at the end of Shang-Chi? I mean, maybe it would have been too on the nose, but I still think it's a missed opportunity.
I think they just want to put the Hotel California joke in there one more time. I think like if they're paying for the song, I guess just put it in there as much as they can. But I totally agree. It would have been way funnier.
Right? Anyway, no, I like Doctor Strange too. I think it's visually beautiful. I love Mads Mikkelsen. What's his name? Like Cassadillion or something?
Jesus. I mean, you're way ahead of me in like the name department. I mean,
no, I'm
it's got to be
struggling.
said. You're the bigger Marvel fan of the two of us, so
I guess Cassilius is his name. Cassilius. Yeah.
Funny enough, I rewatched the IT Crowd recently.
Yeah.
I need another like cooking show.
Sure.
And Benedict Wong is in there, a really young Benedict Wong.
Is he really?
He plays like a Countdown winner. And also, I didn't know Countdown was a real show until I started watching 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. I was like, okay.
But is Wong British?
He's apparently, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Interesting. Right. I mean, I'm so looking forward to the second one. Directed by the same guy. Scott Derrickson is going to return for the Multiverse of Madness, and it's going to be a good one.
He hasn't done much else, right? I just saw like 1 or 2 horror movies.
He's done Sinister. No, he's done a couple of horror
films.
films.
New Exorcist, yeah.
No, The Exorcist of Emily Rose, I think the name is, right?
Oh, okay. Maybe. I just saw The Exorcist. I thought it was a remake of the original. Great movie.
No, it's not a remake. It's actually a courtroom drama that's got some horror elements to it. I thought about watching it for that reason. But I think he's got a horror film coming up soon with Ethan Hawke that looks really, really cool. It's called The Black Phone. Yes.
Oh, this is going to come out this year?
Next year, I think. Next year.
Okay.
Yes. But hold on a second. Now, wait a second. See? I hate myself because before I started saying that it's the Derrickson to return, I thought about, is Raimi returning? But then in my head I was like, no, Raimi's going to do Spider-Man 3. But no, of course, Sam Raimi is directing the new Strange film.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
What? No. I see. In my head, I was like, Raimi's returning, or he's coming back to like Spider-Man, right? But obviously, that's the same director who did. I'm all over the first time. I'm all over the place. The new Doctor Strange film is not by Scott Derrickson. It's by Sam Raimi. So that's going to be interesting. Okay. Yeah. Apologies for that.
Yeah, well, you said Spider-Man.
Right. Thank you.
So what's your number 8?
Yeah, my 8 is the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's not on my list.
That's also not on your list.
It's an honorable.
Okay. I'm interested. Okay, we'll see if the second one makes your list. Completely different, and also during a time when I was invested in it. I think this came out when 2014. Maybe that was the first one when I was really invested in it. That was because Ultron was 2015. Yeah, Guardians was before that. I remember watching that in theaters, and I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it's just awesome. I got a group of people that you don't really feel like will work together, but James Gunn is a genius. And the guy who directed the new Suicide Squad, he did both Guardians movies, and he's going to do the third one. That's why I was confused there for a second too. I'm all over the place with my directors. But I love it. And it's got like another one of those changes in the MCU that were very welcome. Like WandaVision after Endgame felt like a warm change. Guardians felt like a warm change to the whole other MCU.
Sorry. Warm change just sounds like something naughty.
Does it?
You know? I had a very good dream, so it's sort of warm change.
I think of diapers now. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
What do you think of Guardians?
I liked it. I liked it more the second time I watched it, to be honest. I wasn't that into it the first time, but the more I got into the characters, I think what my problem was, I really liked the characters, really liked the group, and like those misfits coming together, and like Rocket and of course Drax. is one of the best. I mean, Groot is funny. I think in this movie, like the Groot joke is a bit overdone, I guess. I mean, yeah, sure, it's cute, but it's just this one joke that gets repeated time after time. But my problem was more with the villain. I thought the villain was just so boring and forgettable that I wasn't that interested.
Ronan?
Yeah.
Lee Pace. Love that actor. No, seriously. I think he's one of the better villains.
Really?
Marilyn
I think
Manson
he's like
himself?
Fair enough, but apart from that, he's like this genocide dude, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know what these aliens are that he supposedly killed. I never saw this dude. He doesn't seem that threatening. I don't know. I thought it would have found it more interesting if Jimon Hansu, I'm sure I mispronounced his name, would have been the villain, but he's just a minion that does like 2 action scenes.
Yeah. Who? That's my Jimon Hansu impression.
That's very good.
Thank you. I like Ronan, but I hated the dance-off at the end. Now, I don't hate the dance-off in terms of like, it's not that I didn't find the scene funny. I did. But I get what they were going for. I get it's different. But to defeat the enemy with a distracting dance-off didn't feel, I don't want to say plausible because I don't think they're going for that, but it felt a bit too much for me, you know?
Sure.
But I think because you said he's like, you don't really know why he's doing all these things. Isn't he like a henchman to Thanos too, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of working for him, but then he wants to betray him, and he's like, yeah, I don't need you. Don't call me boy.
Yeah.
He's like the Hamilton of the MCU.
Yeah, he is. That's where he got his inspiration from.
I can say I did really like the movie the second time I watched it, and it was a contender for my 10th place among one other movie.
Yeah. I mean, the best thing about these films, the Guardians films, is the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
just for that, it deserves a spot on this list. Yeah, you're right.
100%. And yeah, I'm excited for the next one too. I like this group of people, and yeah, music is great, and the whole world building that James Gunn achieves is really astonishing.
Are you interested in the video game that's coming out? Have you seen the trailer?
Really. I have seen the trailer. Yeah, I'm not really. No,
I think it looks kind of good, to be honest. Yeah,
I'll look at the reviews once it's out. It's
always so weird just because they're portrayed not necessarily by different actors, but they're animated with different faces because of course, Jesus Christ, that was hard. They can't use Chris Pratt's face, and they would also need his voice, etc. So I get it, but I thought they looked still kind of cool, and they look more comical, like more like the comic versions, I would think.
Yeah,
which I think is a nice touch. I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw the trailer. I think it looks good, but I'll see how it turns out. What's your 8?
My 8 is Iron Man.
That's my 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean, yeah, I gotta say, if we're gonna go by just rewatch value, I haven't rewatched this now since I started rewatching the movies. I started with Captain America.
Okay.
But Iron Man, I loved it when it came out. But since then, every time I rewatch it, which has been like twice now, it's good, but it's not quite as I remembered. But just the nostalgia is still there to make it a better movie. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I disagree, but I know what you mean, yes.
Because the villain, it's just also small scale still which is kind of cool, of course. You see the beginnings, but if you then compare it to the other movies, it just seems kind of off. But for the time, it was a great action movie. I think the suit is still just the design they went for, just looked great. I thought just the sound and making him Iron Man was one of the best choices ever. And Iron Man is my favorite superhero, probably out of the MCU, maybe except for Spider-Man.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was a great choice also with Pepper Potts. I'm not a huge fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, but I mean, this started it all. And I thought they made some great choices with this, that if they changed something about it, this all could have gone to hell. But no, they started a great superhero movie that everybody liked, even though it could stand on its own without needing 5 movies to prepare you for it. Yeah. Which, deserves a shout out in its own. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the movie that started it all. I mean, I said it with Avengers, it set the tone for how it's going forward, but Iron Man is really the first one. And if that one hadn't worked, we wouldn't be here right now. And it was obviously, it ignited Robert Downey Jr.'s career too, which he did like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang a couple of years before that, but he wasn't really like a household name that he is now. And I love this film. I think, strangely enough, rarely people talk about the humor in this. I really think it's one of the funnier MCU films because it's not really, we'll talk maybe about some of the humor that I don't like. I don't know if that film makes your list, but I don't think it will, but we'll see. I just remember him being a cool ass guy. I mean, he's
cool. Yeah,
he is just he's like Ocean's 11 type of guy. I would love to see Tony Stark in Ocean's 11. Now that I think about it,
yeah,
he could fund the whole thing. No, I like it. I mean, the villain is Jeff Bridges, Obadiah Stane. I mean, it's a smaller villain, but he wants to take control of the whole like Stark Industries, if I remember correctly. And then I the whole like fight at the end, top of the building, and the suits did feel like I wasn't a huge fan of that either. Maybe that's what you mean too, but just the whole interactions with Pepper Potts and him, and it's a similar story to Batman Begins. Not in that it just sets up the character, but you got this playboy who sort of, discovers what's going to define the next couple of years of his life, or maybe the rest of his life.
Sure.
And, I love Batman Begins, and I do think of Iron Man in the same type of way. Maybe it's a bit more lighthearted than Batman, but I love it. I really do love it. And when I rewatched it a couple of years ago, I still think it holds up. And I think it's definitely the best Iron Man still.
I think what is also just so cool about this movie is the very last scene, which is him telling everybody that he is Iron Man, which is like the thing. If like every kid has like superhero fan, it's like so cool to think about, of course, when you're a kid. But all in all, these movies, like it's got to be a secret, they all gotta fight around it. But he just goes out there, balls to the walls. I am Iron Man. This is me, and just makes the character just so much more fun and more open because of it. Because now you don't have this like whole secrecy thing. It's just him going on fucking adventures and not having to worry about, I don't know, staying below the radar or whatever. He just is this playboy who just brags about it pretty much, which, it's just so much more fun.
Yes, 100%.
Right. What's your 7?
My 7 is, I don't think this is making your list, is Captain America the Winter Soldier.
This also fought for my number 10.
Do you prefer this to the first one?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think the third one might make your list. So the second one, widely regarded to be one of the best MCU films. And I mean, we're now in the top 7 or whatever. Now we are really in my, like, when creating this list, it sort of solidified to me that I genuinely love 7 MCU films.
Okay.
Because spoiler alert, no show is going to make my list. So from now on, we're really talking, and Iron Man was in that. But Captain America, man, I'll talk about him a little bit more later, but he's my favorite. He is my favorite hero in the MCU. And it used to be Iron Man, and it wasn't until a later film in the MCU where I really, really, where that changed. And Chris Evans is the main reason for that. And I know a lot of people disregard Captain America just because of the patriotism that he sort of personifies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. But I think there's much more behind that character. But anyway, I like the first one. That's actually my number 11. So I'll say that now. That was kicked off by Shang-Chi. I like the first one a lot, sort of setting up who Steve Rogers is, and I love that iconic scene where he throws himself on the hand grenade. Just a good guy, man. Just a good guy. He could do this all day. He could do this all day. But then the second one, directed by the Russo brothers now. I mean, we talked about those guys before. 2 directors that I absolutely love. I actually got to see one of them in person when I was in Toronto. Have I told you this story before?
Oh, like 5 times.
No, that's absolute bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. That's like me bragging about it everywhere I go. That was a genuine question if I told you this before. All right, you recite the story, you son of a bitch. You recite the story, because I don't think I told you the story before.
I think you've told me once. You also showed me the picture of the guy.
Okay, I might have told you the story then. No, I went to Toronto in 2019, and I went to collect my tickets for the film festival. There's like a main sort of building where you go to. And I walk in, and it's literally, I've been in Toronto for like 30 minutes, and I walk in, and who's interviewed like 3 meters next to me? It's Joe Russo. And I was literally like, well, this is great to be in Toronto. This is fantastic. I mean, there's the guy who just, and it was literally after Endgame, right? He just directed the most successful film of all time or whatever. So,
then you went to McDonald's and you saw Leonardo DiCaprio. And
I missed him by a second. I actually missed it because Ford versus Ferrari was there. I actually missed Matt Damon and Christian Bale, yeah, because I wasn't there in the evening. Yeah, there were a lot of people there. Scarlett Johansson was there. Everyone was there.
Cool.
But yeah, the 2 directors that really took Captain America and made him into something great. And you see that action. It starts out from the first action scene on the boat. I think you talked about this. You didn't like this, right? We talked about this recently. That you didn't like the action in Captain America.
Yeah, like I did like it towards the end, but especially in the beginning, there's a couple of scenes when he's on the boat fighting.
Yeah,
and it's just so fast paced, and I didn't like them not staying on it a bit more, which they did in Civil War, for example.
Yeah, but it felt like so. You felt the impact, you know. It felt like you were watching a much more brutal Captain America. You just like really went after them, and I really appreciated that it felt more gritty than the first one.
Yeah, it felt way more like an action movie than a superhero movie.
Well, it is an action film, but it is what makes it so great is that it's a combination of an action film and a good old like 90s spy thriller.
Yeah.
It obviously solidified by the fact that you got Robert Redford in there. I mean, the guy who's like the spy film, you know, hero or whatever, or the giant that he is. And, you know, obviously he turns out to be the villain in this. And I think it's Alexander. Fuck. What's his name?
Payne?
Is it? That's a director, no?
Is it? I rewatched it like a week ago and I still don't remember.
Who am I thinking of right now with Alexander? Yeah, that's a director.
His name is Alexander Pierce. Oh, okay.
Pierce.
It's got a P.
Pierce. Yes. No, but that whole, like, the way they incorporated a spy film into an MCU action film is just genius. And you get, obviously, Bucky for the first time, and that whole standoff on the highway is beautiful. And I really appreciate the action in this. And obviously, you got Black Widow teaming up with Cap there, and their interaction between each other. And
I thought the chemistry was really good between Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans, which made it even weirder that she and Bruce Banner just got a thing out of nowhere pretty much in Age of Ultron, which I thought just felt wrong.
No, it was in the first Avengers, no? When the chemistry begins between the two of them, no?
Maybe a bit, but not really. I mean, because Winter Soldier's after the Avengers, and I felt that felt way more authentic than in Age of Ultron all of a sudden.
Was it really Age of Ultron?
Yeah, that's when they start flirting at the party, and then she kind of starts like calming him down.
Yeah. I thought that was based on a film before, because she's the one who gets to recruit Bruce Banner in the first Avengers, right?
Right, but I don't think they have that many scenes after that.
Yeah, I don't quite remember this. But I know a lot of people wanted Steve and Natasha to have a fling. But, I mean, their chemistry, they've worked on so many films before together. So
did they?
Yeah, we talked about this on the ScarJo special. Yeah.
But so many?
A couple, like 3 or 4 films together, before the MCU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which ones? I can't think of a single one right now.
Well, it was the Nanny Diaries.
Okay, Jesus Christ, maybe.
You had, I think it's The Perfect Score.
I haven't seen it either.
See, is that enough? I can't think of any other than that.
Sure.
There's definitely, I think, one more maybe. Yeah. No, they've known each other for years and years. Yes, That's why their chemistry is so believable. But yeah, I love it. I think the second one is it's the only real like genre film within the MCU. I think maybe.
I mean, like with Homecoming, Spider-Man, you get like a teen coming of age movie.
Fair enough. I appreciated the spy aspect of the whole thing. And I think Winter Soldier is also the one where Fury dies, right? And then, spoiler, he's actually alive.
What?
What's your 7?
My 7, well, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, that's higher for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My 6 was Iron Man, so what's your 6?
Yeah. It's for Ragnarok.
I knew it. Yeah. I thought you didn't. I thought because you said you didn't finish it rewatching it, I thought you might not enjoy it.
That's why it's only my 6. Because we watched this in cinemas together, and
dude.
we were both not as big a fans of this movie as the rest. Because everybody said like this is one of the best, if not the best, MCU movie to date.
I thought you loved it.
I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as everybody else. I was like, okay, but we agreed. I mean, we all even talked about it after the movie that some of the jokes were just too much. They're just unnecessary jokes in moments that should have been tenser, and yeah, it just felt a little silly for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now that I rewatched it, it's great. I'm enjoying the jokes. I think it's so colorful and so fun. I'm just loving every minute that I'm watching it. And I think what you said is so true for my list as well. From number 7 on, these are just movies that I really fucking like. And not just because they're in the MCU. And Thor Ragnarok just feels like a movie that you can watch on your own, and I think just more accessible for also people who are maybe not that into the MCU, but also for people who just want to rewatch one of the movies and just want to pick a fun one. Because I think this you can watch pretty much anytime. It just, the action's cool, like Hulk coming out, doing his thing, fighting. They have some great lines. I think Carl Urban, who I kind of forgot that he's the guy who helps Kate Blanchett's character.
Yes.
He's funny as hell.
Yeah, he's good.
I mean, it all makes sense now because I just got it. He's from New Zealand as well. As is, of course,
Isn't he
Rachel
Australian?
House. I think he's from New Zealand.
Okay, yeah.
Rachel House, whom we talked about in Penguin Bloom.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, she's
really
good.
fucking funny here. Jeff Goldblum, made for the fucking role, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also Tessa Thompson's really good in this. I think this is just the best Thor because he is just even more fun. They're just letting loose and having fun with it. And I think Taika Waititi is a great choice for this. I think this movie could even be higher on my list, but I haven't finished it. I might change my mind. Sorry, I touched the mic with my nose. And yeah, I would love to put this further up, but gotta finish it first.
Yeah. I got different thoughts on this.
Yeah, let's go. I want to hear them.
Well, I remember distinctly after the cinema, we went outside and I remember you saying it's the best Thor film.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
I mean, I don't even remember what I said back then.
No, you said that. You said that.
I mean, the first one was good, but not great. And the second one I didn't really like. I liked it more now that I rewatched it, but still.
Now, for me, this is the worst Thor film.
Oh, you've said this before, and worse than For the Dark World is just so... it's just so weird to hear. It just looks so good.
Yeah. No, listen, this is my most controversial thing of the week. I'm fully aware of this. I think even Chris Hemsworth would say that this is his favorite Thor film.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loved it. But I saw it 2 times, and from the first time, it didn't sit right with me.
Okay.
And I don't want to, because I could really talk about this for 20 minutes. For me, it boils down to the humor that you enjoyed now. I really disliked the humor in this because it felt like picking Waititi to direct it is a bold choice. And if you know his films, you kind of know his humor and what to expect. And I love his early films. Like What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite comedies of the recent years. But I don't think it fits within the MCU. And especially not after the first 2 Thor films. Now, you can say that you don't like the first 2 Thor films, and therefore you appreciate the break that it did within that little franchise itself. And I think Chris Hemsworth would say that. I think he appreciates that he's got more humor to play with, and that it's a more fun environment to be in. I enjoy the first Thor film. That's my favorite. The first one, I agree. The second one, maybe it's on par with the third one for me. But I never hated the second one. But for me, it just built up a character that was sort of like Luke throws away the lightsaber at the beginning of Last Jedi. It felt like Thor Ragnarok did that with the Thor that I've grown to like. And the whole humor, it's like they put in humor for the sake of it. He picks up, my go-to reference is always he picks up a bouncing ball, he chucks it against the wall, and it bounces back and slams him in the face.
That's pretty much where stop watching.
Yes, that is funny, but it is humor for the sake of humor, and it is not like The Martian. It is not like also Iron Man, in where he he builds his costume for the first time, he tries it out and he fails, and that is funny, but that is believable in the moment that those things happen. In The Martian too, fun things happen because of the situation that he's in, but in Thor Ragnarok, it always felt like forced humor. We put this in because this is funny. Tessa Thompson drunkenly stumbles out of her spaceship and falls off the side of it. I don't understand why that's in there. But yes, you could argue, and maybe in other films I appreciate it. You could argue that sets up her character. She's got an alcohol problem. Yes, of course. But that whole world that Waititi built didn't sit right with me. Now, I don't hate the film. I enjoy the film. And I actually think it's brave what they did with it. But I think I managed to get across why it didn't work for me.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get it, but I think because you said it's just so ridiculous and unnecessary, but I appreciate it because it's just a break from the other like movies that it sometimes took itself too serious. Because let's be honest, those are some ridiculous situations, and if you explain the movie to somebody who is not acquainted with the MCU, they're like, "This sounds kind of crazy," and it is. And this is kind of how it's portrayed in this movie. And I do like some of the more serious scenes when they have a conflict, but I like in this movie that it's just over-the-top characters, and yeah, it's the over-the-top humor from Taika Waititi, but which is quite similar pretty much all of a sudden, which is people being quite casual about quite extreme situations.
Yeah.
Which is funny at times. Can be a bit much, maybe, if you've seen it too many times. But I gotta say, it really worked for me. And yeah, I mean, the humor is, very similar to Jojo Rabbit and to What Do We Do in the Shadows. Yeah, but I think I needed that, especially now that maybe because I'm binging pretty much all of the movies. Well, watching one every like 2 days.
Yeah.
But it just gives you a nice break, I think. And I think Thor is one of the more ridiculous characters. I mean, just the whole concept of him being kind of a god, coming to Earth and being quite badly adjusted to Earth and the customs there. I think this takes to a whole new level. And I think I like it because they kind of set the story not on Earth for once, but in a different like universe. Like in the Guardians, which is also quite over the top.
Well, but that's
and I think
Thor.
Since they do that,
Asgard or whatever it is, right?
Asgard, and then I mean also because in the first one and in the second Thor, they're also on Earth, like fighting to save it. And here it's just Asgard and this weird fucking jungle planet where he's stranded.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the design is so colorful and stupid, and I think that's just why the movie is just so fun, because you don't have to think, okay,
yeah, I get it.
It's such a big thing, but then again, it does have big implications for the later movies, and of course Asgard.
Yes,
but yeah,
I do like the action. It's got some great action scenes.
It looks great, yeah.
I mean, and Cate Blanchett is great, and obviously, I mean, yeah, the whole like bridge scene at the end with the what is it? The song, the immigrant song? No, what is it called?
We talked about this.
Yeah, I think it's the immigrant song.
Yeah. By
Led Zeppelin
what was
song.
it? Led Zeppelin, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's at the end when they're fighting on that thing, on that bridge. Yeah, it's got some great scenes in it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's whenever I hear Thor Ragnarok, it's got a, how could I say this perfectly? Like it's got like
bad taste.
Yeah, it leaves like a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. But I appreciate certain things of it. Definitely do.
I mean, Love and Thunder is also by Waititi, right?
Yes. And I'm looking forward to it, man. Maybe now that he's established this kind of Thor, maybe I can appreciate it more.
They've gone very much over the top also then later with Infinity War Endgame especially.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, and also Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So what's your number 5?
So my 5 is Guardians 2.
That's a bit high. It's my 3. I think we can talk about it.
Oh, that is unbelievable that is so high for you.
And it's just fucking great. But sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's your... Yeah, but I loved it. And I was surprised because when it first came out, a lot of people were like, it's got nothing on the first one. And I'm like, I think this is better than the first one.
Me too. I liked it way more.
Yeah, I loved it. I love that film. So many great things. Once again, the music is just spectacular.
Yeah.
The action scenes, I remember that whole Yondu, I think that's the second one with the song that plays that can't... I have that soundtrack on repeat, but I can't quite place the songs to certain scenes now. But that whole thing where he uses his arrow, and just like you get that bird's eye perspective of it when it goes like through the ship. I think that's the second one, right?
It's second one, yeah.
I mean, baby Groot.
Yeah. So cute.
The cutest thing. The cutest thing. Like, I almost can't take it how cute that thing is. When he's like when he's not supposed to press that button and Rocket just screams at him, I just want to give him a hug. You got Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
As Ego the planet. And we talked about the suspension of disbelief that a whole planet can't, like, do you remember that discussion we had?
Yeah,
it was a free guy.
Rewatched this less than a week ago, and I was like, I kind of get it. Why is he just like doing energy tentacles instead of like moving everything? But we don't know how it is to be a planet. I mean, it took him millions of years to do all this shit. So
yeah, and it's got some beautifully emotional scenes too. I mean, that father and son scene, amazing.
Great.
Amazing. The whole Yondu funeral where they just shoot him out and everyone came. Oh, okay, goosebumps thinking about it now.
You came as well?
I did come as well, yeah.
I think also just the dynamic between one of the newer characters, Mantis, and Drax. So funny.
Yes.
Like, you remind me of my daughter. Hideous?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Mantis fan, but I give you that one. She's got some great moments. Yeah.
I think she just fits it so well. And I rewatched this recently, and it reminded me of Suicide Squad and why I found that movie so good. James Gunn just has this over-the-top humor, this subverting expectations of time, which I just love.
Yeah.
And it, like, just also like Ragnarok, it's so colorful, it's so fun. Groot, you have kind of a new character by making him younger and just more fun.
Yeah.
That way. And the action is good. The design is great of some of the creatures, for example. You forgot fucking Sylvester Stallone in there.
Yeah.
But one thing that I kept thinking is, I wish it was R-rated. I think he could have done so many more, even funner things, because it kind of pushes the line for an MCU film, I think.
Yeah.
There's this very funny scene where Yondu and Rocket are held captive on this pirate ship, and they need Groot to get the new fin, the prototype that's in some drawer, and Groot keeps coming back with different things, always the wrong ones.
Too cute.
And then he just brings a fucking severed toe. Rocket just goes like, I hope you have like a drawer of severed toes lying around somewhere. And I was like, no, we don't. So let's never talk about this again. Without fucking Groot cut off a fucking toe. I think it's James Gunn's humor, and I think that's why Suicide Squad is great, because he had more of a free range. But this is also one of his best fucking movies, and it's an MCU movie, and it's just a fun ride from beginning to end, and even still fucking managed to land some great emotional scenes, like you said, with father and son playing during the funeral.
Yeah. Dude, you bringing up funny scenes, I'm now remembering. So the scene with Mantis that you brought up, was that my favorite scene? I'm asking you, because do you remember I told you this like maybe a year after we saw it, that this scene features one of my favorite funny moments in the MCU, and now I can't think of it. What was it? What was the Mantis scene again? Tell me again.
Where they are sitting outside and Drax is telling her how ugly she looks.
I think that is actually the one I'm talking about.
And then he is kind of sad because of his daughter. She reminds me of you. She just has this big smile on her face.
Yeah, she's got this smile on her because of the smile.
Yeah. Because he's like, these people have it so much better because they know if people like them, they like them for who they are instead of what they look like. And she's so happy about it to be called ugly.
When you said it the first time, I remember it being a funny scene, but now with the smile, I remember it distinctly. I think that's one of the best scenes. And I said that I didn't like Mantis, and there you go. She's actually one of my favorite scenes. Yeah. No, that's such a brilliant scene. I remember laughing in the cinema and everyone laughing at that. It's just so brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also better than the first one, also just because they're already just a team. And so from moment one, they have great interactions, and also like the opening scene of them being together, and you got Mr. Blue Sky playing so loudly while Baby Groot dances and all just fucking fighting this big ass monster.
Yes.
In the meantime.
Yes.
Great scene, and
great opening. You're straight
Great
back in the
opening.
world. Yeah. And obviously Elizabeth Debicki is in this as the golden woman, the big golden lady.
That's her. I kept thinking, what's her name? Where have I seen her? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your 5?
I'm actually
No, sorry,
looking.
that's your 5.
That's my 5 and your 3. I'm actually, I was just looking up the scene on YouTube and I just found it because I feel like there was more to that scene, but no, right? Was it just the hideous thing?
I think that's the funniest part of it, yeah.
Because, give me 2 seconds.
I mean,
we can
also
cut this.
Drax like saying, she's like, if he's attracted to her or something. So I just imagined us like being together and just start shivering because it's just so revolting to him.
Right.
And then also at the very end, sorry, where he's like, "You are beautiful on the inside."
Okay, I just found it, and it's similar to what we said, but he goes like, "You remind me of my daughter," and she just looks at me, she goes like, "Disgusting."
Disgusting.
But she's so proud. Anyway, I'm sorry. I needed to look this up because it's one of my favorite scenes. So that was my 5. That was your 3. So what is your 5, right?
My 5 is Captain America: Civil War.
That is my 3.
Oh, let's go.
Beautiful, yeah, beautiful.
I mean, I gotta say, I think when I've finished Ragnarok and it doesn't disappoint at the end, I think it's probably could be my 5, maybe my 4.
Jesus,
but we'll see. But yeah, Captain America: Civil War. It is. Jesus, sorry. Shouldn't have had all that water. Captain America: Civil War is the first MCU movie that I watched in the cinema since Iron Man.
Oh wow!
And yeah, that's why I watched all the others in preparation for this. We watched this together, and first of all, the experience was really cool. I remember coming to the cinema and being asked, which team are you on? And then we got these little posters of either Team Captain America, Team Iron Man.
Completely forgot that, yeah.
Or Team Neutral, I guess.
Yeah.
You picked Captain America and I picked Iron Man.
I did. Sure.
Do you still have the poster? Because I think I threw mine away or lost it.
I mean, it must be somewhere. I don't think I threw it away.
Okay. Should move into an apartment and just have those two opposite each other.
Just bicker at each other the whole time. Yeah.
But no, it is a good movie, as in, I think the villain is not as great as some others, but the scenes of them, of course, fighting against each other, and I don't just mean the action scenes, which is fucking great. I mean, the airport scene is one of the greatest action scenes, if not the greatest scene in the whole MCU.
It's up there, yeah.
And I think also just the fight, as in like the discussion also of should they be controlled, should they have free range, or should they, follow some set of rules.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fucking discussion, and I was Team Iron Man, like, because I liked Iron Man, but I was also Team Iron Man because I actually do agree with him. That shit is fucking dangerous. I think it's just so cool too. First of all, you're finally introduced to Black Panther and Spider-Man in the same movie.
Yes.
And you kind of see, because there's these fucking age-long discussions of, what superhero would win in a fight. And you finally see that, which you normally wouldn't. And there are other examples of other movies doing it, like, I always want to say Captain America, but I want to say Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Which did it so fucking badly.
I was going to say, you love that film.
Yeah. And, it just was so unsatisfying. But there you got this big fucking scene at the airport. You get the end scene where in Siberia of Iron Man fighting Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Iconic.
And it's so fucking good. Like, the action scene is actually really fucking good. They're not these fast-paced edits. You get these long scenes of him. I think there's this overview shot of him fighting both at the same time, like going back and forth.
Passing the shield.
Yeah, and then passing the shield. It looks so good. And
so good.
That's, I think it's why it's one of the best action scenes in one of the best MCU movies.
Yeah.
And also Russo brothers.
Of course, yes. It is a Captain America film, but it really feels like an Avengers film. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love this film. Like, because also of that, like, moral dilemma. What are we going to do? Are we going to, refrain from helping people? Or, like, do we need, like, protection? Or do we need, like, certain guidelines to work under? And I like Daniel Brühl as the villain. I think Zemo. I think it's and the whole like mystery of like what happened to who killed Tony Stark's parents. And the whole thing of like him not accepting Bucky, even though he wasn't like himself when he did it, but just like, he's still the one who killed his parents.
Sure.
It's understandable why he can't just pass that off, sort of. And the action scenes are just insane. They're just insane. I got goosebumps when we talked about it now. I think it's amazing. I think you said everything else. It feels like the best way to describe it, it's like an Avengers. It feels like Avengers 2.5, really, after Ultron. And once again, it sort of solidified my love for. I was Captain America. I don't actually like in terms of like the whole like should they or should they not have like.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but I've never really thought about it too hard.
Maybe you should, yeah.
Yeah, it sort of it solidified my love of the character, but not because of the actions he took in the film, just because of the film in general,
I mean, it's also set in Vienna partly, so we have to love this movie.
Right, in the most green screen area of Vienna. It's just like that NATO conference, right?
Yeah,
or whatever conference it was.
Or UN, yeah.
UN conference. Yeah. Oh, is that the one at the end? That's the one, right?
That's where the bomb goes off, and where T'Challa is that?
That's right.
His father's name, or is he T'Challa?
T'Challa is Chadwick Boseman. Is T'Challa.
Okay, then
T'Chaka. I think that's right.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right.
His dad dies in the explosion, and there's the scene in the UN building, and there's this top shot shortly of Vienna where you can see the Donau, the river flowing through the city, and that seems to be a real shot. But then you go over to like quote unquote UN building, and I watched this with a friend of ours, with Celine, and the first reaction just turns to me, this is not Vienna. This is a fucking set, so it looks so cheap. Because if you know what Vienna looks like, I mean, I wasn't in the UN building so far, but it just doesn't look right.
But isn't there also like, is that a different film where the last scene is also in Vienna? Where they just like...
In Spider-Man Far From Home, they're shortly in the Alps of Austria, and also with houses that look nothing like Austrian houses. Just so you know, for the record, if you're not from Austria, that's not what Austria looks like.
Yeah.
But I think at some point in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that may be in Austria.
No, there was definitely a film where the last scene, I think, is in Vienna, where they're also like signing the accords. I think it's at the end of Civil War. Maybe they're back at Vienna, some small scene. I might be mixing up things. I apologize if I do.
I don't know.
Yeah. But are there any like other big scenes that we're missing from Civil War that we maybe should talk about?
I mean, there's the apartment fight with Captain America and Winter Soldier finding their way out, which is pretty cool.
Well, just the beginning, right, with Wanda killing innocent people in
Bolivia? Nigeria.
Wasn't it in Bolivia?
Nigeria, in Lagos.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I recently watched the third season of Sex Education, and there's a scene in Lagos.
Yes.
Also in Nigeria.
Yes. It's a reference to Civil War, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Have you watched Sex Education?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about it with you.
Bucky Barnes is, what did you say? Siberia. That's different though, right?
At the end, they're in Siberia. Yeah, that's not Austria. No,
I'm looking in Lagos. You're right. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Lagos. Yeah,
Lagos,
you're absolutely right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all of it. I mean, you finally see Vision in action since Age of Ultron, and also Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
Wanda.
Yeah, and so them forming a relationship.
Yeah,
maybe in the right. That's sort of implied. Maybe the beginning of it.
And also, of course, still fun scenes of them fighting at the airport of Black Widow and Hawkeye, fighting, and they're known friends, and they're like hitting each other. This means we're still friends, right? Depends on how hard you hit me.
Yeah, no, so many great interactions in that fight alone, like Captain America and Spider-Man, obviously that Brooklyn and Queens thing,
right, yeah,
and that Empire Strikes Back reference as well.
Sure, yeah,
it's good. It's good. Good fun. Good film. I like that film a lot.
Fun, yeah.
Good film. So my 4, right?
Yeah.
My 4 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was my 7.
Did you hear that voice crack when I said it?
No.
That's your 7, sorry? Oh, that's right. You already said it.
That's my 7.
That's
which
right.
is so... I don't like putting it there, but I have my reasons, kind of.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's fair.
But yeah, talk about Spider-Man Homecoming.
So the second one doesn't make your list either?
Maybe.
No, that would be outrageous.
Would it?
Yes, that would be outrageous. You think that? Okay, well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. So the Spider-Man Homecoming, what a film. Directed by John Watts, who's actually going to do the third one.
Yeah, not Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I don't think it's Sam Raimi, no. Yeah, I mean, Michael Keaton, that scene at the door, what a twist. That I don't think anyone saw coming. And I love it when a film pulls off a twist. Because it's not even like an earth-shattering twist, right? You've seen it before where you get introduced to a character that turns out to be the villain, basically in every MCU film. But for whatever reason, this one is just beautifully done. Beautifully done. Him opening the door and there he is. And I love that they're sort of like interacting with each other, kind of knowing what's going on. Obviously, Peter knows what's going on, but I think the Vulture, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think he sees through his facade too rather quickly. And then that whole scene where they're in the car driving together, so tense and so beautifully done. Yeah.
And the daughter being completely oblivious.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's yet another incarnation of Spider-Man. Obviously, we got to meet him in Civil War, and this is his first standalone film. I love Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
She is so good.
She's so good.
Great casting.
Absolutely. With one of the few fucks in the MCU, right? At the end with what the...
it cuts off.
It's cut though. Yeah. And then it plays... what's that song? Electric something. Help me out. You know this song.
Electric Avenue?
No. Zig. Something with Zig.
What?
Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh!
That's it.
Something Blitzkrieg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the song that plays at the end of the credits as well. Yeah, love it. I love it. And I didn't need a younger Spider-Man. A lot of people were saying like that's the Spider-Man they grew up reading. That's really like a young one compared to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I didn't really care for that, but I think Tom Holland is great. And that's also with the one where he's got like that voice in his head, like in the suit. I think, was it Karen?
Think so?
Which is now a different name, right? Used for different things, right? But it was Karen, right? Jennifer Connelly's voice, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Jennifer Connelly's voice?
I hope so. Otherwise, I look like an ass agreeing with you.
I think it's right.
I mean, I gotta say, I hate you right now a little bit.
What's going on?
Because everything you just said is so true, and now I kind of regret putting it at my number 7 because although Spider-Man Homecoming is before Thor Ragnarok, I haven't rewatched Spider-Man Homecoming because unlike Thor Ragnarok, I have rewatched it at some point. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this out. I don't have to watch all of them since I'm rewatching it with a friend together.
Yeah,
with Celine, and at some point I had to like go to work and I was like, don't worry, watch it without me. I've seen it like a year or two ago again. And yeah, you're so right. It is a great movie. What I just thought, the Vulture, some of the scenes, like the conviction of his character didn't interest me as much. But then again, you're right. There's this great scene of the twist where it is him at the door. And I mean, you got a little cameo by Donald Glover, which is also fun. But also you got his rival played by Tony Revoloni.
Who's that again?
The guy, the rich kid who keeps making fun of him, but is a huge fan of Spider-Man. To whose party he goes then, and then where he has to take off. Yeah, Flash. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought you meant
the character,
a rival of Michael Keaton's character.
No, Spider-Man.
Yep.
Which was great. Yeah, no, you're right. I would like
and
to
the John Hughes element, which you mentioned before,
and of course the John Hughes element, because you talked about not being necessarily like needing a younger Spider-Man. I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of it. I wanted a younger Spider-Man. I think he's great in the role. And yeah, it's got this coming of age element. It's got this John Hughes element. And I do really like John Hughes, although he's become a bit more of a controversial person, I guess,
with
his movies.
Okay.
Yeah, some of his scenes maybe being a bit rapey. Like in 16 Candles and shit like that. It's like movies of their time. Anyway, but yeah, they feel great. And this movie feels like one of his movies. And once again, like with Guardians of the Galaxy, you got this great soundtrack that helps you with that. And those funner elements of him struggling to be both a superhero and just a normal person, which the other superheroes don't have as much. Like Captain America is Captain America no matter what he does. And I said with Iron Man, that's kind of a fun thing, he's just a superhero. But here it's kind of cool because he just tries to be a teenager. And so you got more of that in there than just pure fighting and fucking drama.
Yeah.
And just a fun scene of him running through the backyards.
No, that's John Hughes, yeah, for sure.
So good. Yeah.
I mean, I am struggling to believe. I think he's supposed to be like 15, maybe. That's pushing 16? It a bit too much. Yeah, still. Yeah. It's like Sex Education. Every single actor in that is 25 or older. It's supposed to be 17
Sure.
or 16.
I mean, it's hard, especially
of course.
both of them, because you make like 1 or 2 movies in like a span of 2 or 3 years. You gotta kind of look the same.
100%. But it's got a great cast. I mean, Zendaya. Jacob Batalon.
Way smaller role than in the second Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes. And she's going to have a big one in the next big role in the third one. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, for sure. I didn't love the second one. I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but I'm certainly looking forward to the third one. So what's your 4?
Well, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Are you being serious? You think that's a better film than the first one?
Okay. Now that you've like talked about those scenes, you're so right. And it's so hard with those movies because I'm going to rewatch them in, I don't know, a couple of years and I'm going to have a whole different list.
I'm sorry, before you go on, I'm so confused. When that film, when the credits hit, Spider-Man Far From Home, you were like, this is one of the, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was something like, we got a new best MCU film. It was something like that. Something like that.
Like trolling you, yeah.
Right, apparently trolling me. I bought it, right? So a couple of weeks later, or whenever we talked about it again, I was like, you said it was one of the best ever. And you were like, no, you were just kidding.
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, so you didn't like it. But now it's your 4, so you were right.
I still like it. It would have made my top 10 easily anyway. It's still one of my favorite MCU movies still. Like, it's not my favorite like out of all of them. But the reason I have it this high is because I rewatched this a couple of weeks ago. Had I not done this, Homecoming would be first. But I have, and I had even more fun, I think, than I did in the cinema for some reason. I just so enjoyed the jokes. I laughed at them still, although I knew every fucking punchline. Maybe I'm just falling in love more with Zendaya, so the element of them kind of starting a romance.
I think that's been the thread of the podcast, yeah.
It is, yeah. I'm slowly falling in love with her.
Yeah.
And
she's taken, right? She was actually together with Tom Holland.
Yeah. Apparently. I still believe that's a fucking promotional tool by Disney.
Maybe.
But so fun to look at. I did like
Zendaya?
Jake Gyllenhaal way more now than the first time I watched it. I think, kind of disappointed at first because I know he has to be the villain. So,
yeah.
But it still kind of disappointed me. But the elements of like these fantasies, these not really hallucinations, but these holograms that he creates for Spider-Man, especially later, looked so good. Once again, this movie just feels so good. The only thing that really bothered me is the portrayal of Austria. That's not what it looks like here, but okay. Really bothers me.
Yeah, I can tell.
But apart from that, yeah.
What were some of the funny scenes? Honest question, because I can't remember any of them.
Like, for example, when he's in the bus, like finally putting on the glasses of Tony Stark and then like asking what his powers are. Yeah, I think
Even dead, I'm the king. Oh, I'm the hero. Even dead, I'm the hero.
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
He's like, what are his powers? And then somebody took a picture of him in a compromising position,
right?
Like situation, and he's like deal with it. All right, deploying killing drone. What? It's such a cool scene. I think also Martin Starr is really cool in this. He was also in Homecoming, I think.
Yeah,
I thought he was funny. I think he's a cool actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair. And you loved the ending, right? Because I think that sort of sparked your phrase at the end.
No, I think this phrase was just because I had a feeling like you didn't enjoy it as much. And then,
what are you talking about?
I just want to kind of piss you off.
What are you talking about?
Not piss you off, but surprise you with my statement.
We sat next to each other. I don't think you knew how I felt.
Maybe I have a feeling. We know each other. We've known each other for some time.
I still have no idea about your movie taste, so I think we've established that too.
I'm a fucking wild card.
You are.
I genuinely roll a dice after every movie.
I genuinely feel like in other movies you would point out that bus scene as one of the worst scenes. But I'm not bashing it. I respect your opinion.
I mean, it's always also about like the feel of the movie. If I like that, if I like the premise, if I like the characters, I can get more on board with the jokes. And I think that's also happened with Thor Ragnarok. I was more on board with it this time. And so the jokes hit just way better than they did the first time.
Fair enough.
I've seen way more Taika Waititi movies since then.
Yeah.
Before the first time I watched it, I just saw Hunt for the Wilder People. Also great movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, dude, fair enough. I think I actually did watch the second one twice.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it in my list? There it is. No, I'm just looking because I wanted to see. Yeah, I did watch it twice, so I actually enjoyed it. But I had high expectations because of the second one, because of the first one. Those were definitely not met. Because people did love that second one. I was kind of in a minority of thinking it was okay, and I was hoping for more. But that's how the cookie crumbles.
Now that I've talked about it, I would love to put both Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home on the same spot.
Yeah,
but it's difficult. It's difficult.
I didn't love Mysterio.
Oh, I wish he would have been a real hero. Like him being in the MCU, would have loved it.
Yeah, but the visuals were actually great.
Yeah.
So, some good things in that for sure. So my 3 was Captain America: Civil War. What's your 3?
Mine was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, wow.
So I think we're going to get into... I would think so. I also think we have the same order.
I think so. Yeah, that would be insane. So my 2 is Avengers Endgame.
Let's go. Mine too.
You have the same one too? See, book of surprises. What is it?
That's what my friends call me.
So do you want to talk about? Should we say what the first one is now and talk about both, or do you want to do should we talk about them separately?
I think we can say what the first one is anyway.
Yeah,
then talk about why we like one more than the other.
I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
So my favorite MCU film is Avengers: Infinity War.
Ah, fuck! I thought Ant-Man. Okay.
There was the joke. You had it, and then you said Endgame, and they would have. Yeah,
I fucked it up.
Yeah, you fucked it up.
But I have the power of editing. So, fuck me, it's too late. Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay, because you're not a fan of Ant-Man. I remember that.
I liked it more now that I rewatched.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So 2 Endgame and 1 Infinity War. Now those are very mainstream picks, and you could say we're basic bitches here. But heck,
sure.
I have not seen films more in cinemas than those 2. Maybe.
How many times did you
Endgame
watch
is my
them
most
each?
watched theater experience.
How many times?
I don't want to say
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't think
Am
I
I
should
getting
say
close?
to maintain some sort of dignity.
Oh no, please throw away your dignity.
So Endgame I saw 6 times in theaters.
Wow, I think that's maybe as many times as I watched Arrival in the cinemas.
Yeah. Infinity War I've only seen 4 times.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Oh, but hold on, maybe no. Actually, Infinity War I saw 3 times in cinemas and once at home. So there you go.
Oh,
and Endgame I saw 6 times in theaters.
I mean, respect.
Thank you.
Although I think I might have even only seen Arrival 4 or 5 times. So
got some catching up to
good
do.
for you. Let me look it up. I've seen it 7 times, and I saw it 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 times. Only 4 times. I'm so disappointed in myself.
I'm so sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, me too.
The reason why I bring it up how many times I saw is because you could argue that I could argue that I enjoyed Endgame more, but I think the better film is Infinity War.
Yeah.
Would you agree? You would agree?
Yeah. I mean, Endgame was great just because it was the culmination of, 20 movies prior to that.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, the greatest fan service ever.
Yeah.
But not the greatest movie ever. It was great to see all characters coming together. It was a cool way to wrap it up, and it's got a very cool end scene. The action scene, you got, fan service with everybody shining for a moment.
Yes.
And getting a cool scene, which is a very cool thing to do. But with Infinity War, you had way higher stakes. You were way unsure where it was going to go. And the ending took me way more by surprise because I didn't know how they were going to wrap this one up. I knew there was going to be one after that, I think, but I didn't expect it. That was one of the most iconic scenes, and it sparked fucking so many jokes that have kind of become tiresome by now, but like the snapping of everybody away and like dissolving and fucking Spider-Man going away, so emotional.
It was, but my issue was I knew they were going to come back. You know, the second they disappeared, I remember distinctly watching it the first time. They were sort of like, they were turning to dust, and I was like, okay, is that supposed to mean that they're dead? Because I'm not buying it. I distinctly remember that because I knew the next one was going to come out. I think it was at that time still called Infinity War Part 2 until they changed it to or revealed Endgame. But let's talk about them both. I mean, they're both directed by the Russo brothers, who did Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. And they were at the helm for the last ever Avengers, for the last two, because obviously the first two are by Joss Whedon. And what a momentous thing they had to do. What a momentous task, right? They did it together with Chris Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who also wrote like the Captain America films for them. And I have the biggest respect for those guys too, because I think a lot of people know that the Russo brothers directed those films, but I think Marcus and McFeely as well, they deserve everything about it. And I don't know how to start here, because what sticks out to me are the iconic scenes. That's why they're my number one, you know? I said goosebumps like 3 or 4 times in this episode. There's rarely been a moment in my life in theaters where I still think of it, and just thinking of it gives me goosebumps. Thor's entrance in Wakanda in Infinity War is definitely one of those moments.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, epic. And that's the inner child comes out here. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's mainstream basic bitch bullshit, yes. But I'd be lying if I say that I didn't fucking love everything about it. Cap catching the hammer in Endgame.
Yeah.
I jumped out of my seat. I remember it was literally like, okay, fucking love it. Fucking love it. Because it was implied in Ultron all those years ago. On your left in Endgame, which is, I think that's the most genius piece of writing in the whole MCU. I don't know if that was ever always the plan. I doubt it was. But when they came up with this in the writing session for Endgame or whatever, for the Falcon, what's his name again? Sam. For him to go on your left, and I love the whole like logistics behind it. Him like telling Doctor Strange, like, please make sure that the portal is just on his left. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But just put it on his left. But I mean, it's just iconic and epic and beautiful. And Steve and Peggy dancing at the end. And
I mean, that was one of the best endings to a character.
So
and
beautiful.
Of course, if we put it in the intro, of course, Iron Man.
No, that's it, yeah.
Having such a deserved ending I think it's great that he now does other things, and I think that's the best way to end your character. It was epic, it was beautiful, and it ended with the most iconic line that started the whole thing, and it's ended the whole thing.
And can you believe it that line wasn't scripted and the editor came up with it? He wasn't supposed to say anything, and they shot it, and he was just about to snap his fingers. Just going to do that, and then the editor, after some test screening or whatever, suggested that, and I mean, it's just like, it felt like it was always supposed to be there, right? It's just a genius move.
I heard somewhere that they did it just without anything at the beginning. I thought it was Robert Downey Jr.'s idea to say I am Iron Man. I
am 99% sure because I did consume every interview.
Dude, I'm sure you're right, and
I think it was the editor. I'm positive it wasn't Downey, but he loved the idea, obviously.
Probably just the story that he tells.
But maybe he wasn't even the biggest fan of the idea at first. I mean, maybe he needed some convincing, and they had like a dinner or something. Maybe I'm mixing things up here, but I think if I remember correctly, they had to convince him to do that, actually. And then they shot the scene again. They did some reshoots. And it's just perfect. It's just perfect, man. It's just perfect. And obviously, I mean, Thanos, Josh Brolin.
One of the greatest villains, just in general.
Greatest, in the MCU, the best villain. And
of course, yeah.
As someone who has no idea of the MCU, as I said before, of like the comics and anything like that, I had no idea who that was. Obviously, I knew who he was from the previous films, but he brought him to life, and he was just absolutely fantastic. And just the way, I think it's Infinity War, the way Infinity War starts and his monologue, and you see like everyone like Thor like, beaten up on the ship after the end of Ragnarok.
Yeah, because
Amazing scene.
of course, also like the beginning when we first see him, and I think it's actually in Guardians 1 when we first like really see him and also hear him talk. He doesn't seem that threatening. He seems like a big, dangerous guy, but he's like more like the string, like the marionette guy, whatever you would call him.
The puppet master?
The puppet master, yeah. But then you finally see him and he just fucking beats Hulk up. And you just see fucking how powerful he is. It's just such a cool final introduction for that character.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're great. I mean, the problem with them is they're so great, and that's what it finally built up to. That maybe that's also like why I wasn't looking forward that much to Shang-Chi. Because, for me, kind of the story is over. I still want to watch, of course, Spider-Man, and I guess we'll see what comes out with Doctor Strange and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a cool ending, and I'm so glad also that a lot of characters ended the story arcs with this, because I think it was all they needed. And also finally getting Natasha Romanoff the credit that she's due, because in all the other movies, like people also talking like, is she really deserve it to be an Avenger because she just kicks people and shoots? But no, she's a great character, and she has her big moment in Endgame. But also the Infinity War scene that gave me goosebumps is Thanos sacrificing his own daughter.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking devastating scene.
It's amazing. But actually, I think a lot of people were complaining that it was Black Widow who sacrificed herself because...
Why?
Well, I don't want to open a jar because I read a lot of people saying that it is like, why is the woman sacrificing herself for the men, And I'm on the side of the argument where I'm with you. I mean, it's not a cheap thing to do, or it's not the easy or the what's the word I'm thinking of? Fuck,
I don't know.
It's not it's not a shameful way to go. It's the opposite of that. It's fucking heroic what she does, I never understood why people were complaining about that.
I mean, it's also just a cool way also for her character to end, because she's also it's often talked about also in her own movie that she's kind of feels guilty about her past and what she's done.
Yeah.
And being unable to like have a normal life herself. And Hawkeye is her friend and he does have a family, and yeah, I thought it was a cool ending.
Yeah. I mean, some more epic scenes. I mean, speaking of Hawkeye, the opening of Endgame. You think
Ronan.
How could
sorry, Ronan, yeah.
Well, Ronan is later on when she finds him, but the opening is like him losing his family. After
yeah.
Just opens on a bow.
Mm-hmm.
You think of how this movie could open after the devastation of Infinity War, right? And then it's just like Hawkeye and his family, Clint and his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's these little moments of Clint, like these character development moments as well, where I'm just like in awe of the writing. Where I think, if I remember correctly, like it's something like in Civil War, Hawkeye meets Black Panther, and he goes like, "I'm Clint," and he goes like, "I don't care" or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in Endgame, when they're working together, Black Panther like actually addresses him as Clint. And it's those little things, It's those little things of like, fucking hell, they actually thought about what they're doing. And because Endgame and everything, it is the most successful movie of all time. Maybe it's not anymore. Don't keep track of that. But
yeah,
it's not just a cash grab, because the people who are involved, especially the directors and the writers and Feige, obviously, they love the material they're working with, and they cherish it, and they try to bring the most out of it and make the most out of it. And I kind of felt that, and that's why I was happy to sort of contribute to the budget with going to the cinemas and IMAX 6 fucking times. We actually we took a trip together. We went to the biggest IMAX we could find.
Yeah,
because it's a movie that I was hoping that was going to be a more jam-packed theater, which it definitely wasn't.
It was so empty. Yeah. But it was kind of a cool thing. It felt very American to like drive 2 hours just to watch a movie in the cinema and then drive back.
It wasn't that long, was it?
I think it was nearly 2 hours.
An hour maybe each, yeah, something like that. But I mean, all the midnight screenings we went to, like Infinity War and Endgame, it was just epic. And you could actually, even Austrian people were cheering. And I'm not saying that because Austrian people are dull, but in Austria, the fucking cinematic experience is very restrained, which I love. I love that people are silent during the film, during all films. But like, it takes certain epic moments to really, get a woo out of them, and it happened multiple times.
You're right. Those are great scenes. And sorry, one thing also to Infinity War, I thought the villains, apart from Thor were really cool. The one, like the space dude, that like telepathic abilities. I thought he was so cool.
Good.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
I think he deserves his own like movie where he's the villain, but I think that's kind of too late for now. But
I used to remember his name.
Is so cool.
What was his name? I used to remember it.
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy.
Fuck. This is
I'm gonna look this up. But I don't guess you wouldn't know XCOM 2, the game, right? You don't.
I've heard of it.
Played that, yeah?
I haven't played it.
Because there's a DLC for it. I don't know what it's called. I've never played it. But the characters there look exactly like two of the villains in Endgame. Like exactly the same.
Well, you think it's on purpose?
I have no idea. But the design is just uncanny. I'd love to see where they got it from. I don't even know what was first, but I think it was XCOM.
Right.
But Infinity War.
But there it is.
So many people there.
Ebony Maw.
Ah, yeah.
He's so fucking good, man. And also I think the other, the actress Carrie Coon plays the other one, who's also like the female villain, henchwoman.
That's the one that looks like from XCOM. Yeah, she does look cool.
Yeah. And I mean that whole scene as well, where we first get to meet Steve in the subway station. Oh, when the music kicks in. Oh, come on now.
I mean, finally meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
With Thor, of course, being there, and then with Rocket, and you got teenage Groot.
Yeah, but the humor is so brilliant there too. Yeah. Like Steve, like Peter Quill, like making his voice deeper too, and Rocket pointing it out when he meets Thor for the first time.
Right.
Batista eating some crisps, and he's invisible. I think it's an Infinity War, right? Or is that a Guardians film?
No, that's Infinity War,
right? Where he's been there for hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. And maybe, listen, you could argue that that's humor for the sake of humor, and I couldn't even say why that worked for me and Ragnarok didn't. Right? It's subjective, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean the ending as well of Endgame, we're really talking about these two films as one now, which I think it's
they
fair.
Are.
Yeah. The ending of like them all like signing it, like they're all like signature at the end over the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful touch as well.
And I mean, I can't fucking talk.
Yeah.
What is funny?
What is funny?
I talked about this at work just for fun today with a colleague of mine with MCU movies, and like Marvel, the MCU trolling their fans for like 20 movies, like them expecting an after credit scene, and after about the longest like credits ever, there's no after credit scene after Endgame. I mean, it is fitting. It's like, we're finished for now.
You get
there's nothing else.
Banging noise of like from Iron Man 1 when he forges his suit, right? That's at the end of Endgame. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
No, it's just just audio. Was there a Stan Lee cameo in Endgame, or did he already die by then? No, of course he was in it. He was in it. If I remember correctly, let's go through this. I think in Endgame, it's when they travel back to the 70s, and it's I know exactly what it is, but I'm trying to picture the scene around it. But it's Steve and Tony going back to the 70s. It's in that area when he steals the serum from Michael Douglas's character when he meets his father.
Yeah.
When we first get introduced to that world, we get a car driving by, and that's his like something with like dope or weed, and Stan Lee is in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat and just laughing at the camera. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. But what was the cameo in Infinity War again?
Don't know either.
What was the cameo in Infinity War? That's embarrassing.
I would think like him being in New York at the beginning during the battle, maybe.
No, that's Endgame. Right? The whole time travel thing of Endgame.
Yeah, no, I mean the fight in New York where they first land the aliens, where they fight in the park with Doctor Strange.
Oh right, he's in the bus of Peter Parker. He's in the school bus of Peter Parker.
Right.
But just to wrap this up, because we've now talked about this, do you remember me talking about Ready Player One, that Shining scene where I felt like I was sort of in a different world for a second? That really worked for me.
Yeah.
In Endgame, like you knew that they were somehow gonna go back or whatever, but when they use that suit or whatever, and time traveling ensues, and you get that huge 2012 on screen, and you realize you're back in the first Avengers film. A cinematic moment unlike many others for me, where it was literally like it was. I think nerdgasm would be accurate.
Yeah.
Would be accurate. I mean, when I knew that was going to happen, and then obviously them traveling back to different times as well. It is cheap. It makes no fucking sense. But heck, I was so on board with it, and I enjoyed every second of it. And to wrap this up beautifully, if I do say so myself, it's a 3-hour film, but it goes by like a snap. Right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Flo.
I'm Flo, and just a podcast ends.
Yeah. Right, let's chuck out some honorables, and I think we have a very good time here. We're very much on point with timing.
Yeah,
here.
I think what could have been my number 10 would also been Winter Soldier and Guardians. Most of all.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I said it's the first Captain America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then I actually have the first Thor.
Okay,
I do like the first Thor. I love what Kenneth Branagh did with it, and I think visually it's actually quite beautiful, and the humor worked much more for me here than it did in Ragnarok, because it was much more restrained, and when he chucks down that coffee or beer and he shouts another, I was on board. Ant-Man I enjoyed.
You didn't like the second one, right?
I don't like the second one at all.
I'm so excited to rewatch the second one, because I really liked it, actually.
But you preferred the first one after rewatching it too, right? You said that?
I don't know. I gotta rewatch the second one now as well.
The first one.
No. I mean, yeah, I rewatched the first one like a week ago.
Yeah.
And maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I think so, but we'll see.
What's like your least favorite MCU film?
Out of all of them, I think Iron Man 2.
Okay. Wow.
I think. I gotta think about it for a second, but yeah. I mean, because even for The Dark World, I liked more the second time.
Yeah.
What I gotta say irritates me about some of the older movies is the editing was just way worse.
Okay.
The, like very jarring scenes where like they switch scenes out of nowhere and just doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you also got that in Iron Man 2. I didn't like the villain. It was just so off for me. What about you? Is it?
I would say Ant-Man 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Did any of the shows like have a shot?
No,
of making your
not
list?
even close.
Okay.
Not even close. How about? I mean, we talked about this. We were both somewhat disappointed either by the ending or like the whole concept. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I mean, we could go through all of them, but I think we've think.
I mean, you do have your full list like ranked, right? So just give me your bottom 5 for a second.
Well, that's unfair because you don't have yours.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. I mean, Iron Man 2 is in there. I probably.
No, I enjoy every film, and even Ant-Man 2. So this is like those are my least favorite films, but I do enjoy all of them.
Sure.
I have as my second last favorites Black Panther, which is more controversial than Thor Ragnarok probably. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I love the world, but yeah, I got issues with that film. Then I got Black. So you go on?
No, I'm gonna rewatch it in a week or two, and I am interested if it holds up because I liked it, but I didn't love it. I felt the problem was it was too overhyped.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't think it was a bad movie. I really liked Andy Serkis as the villain.
I agree. I was sad that they killed him off so early.
Yeah, and Wakanda just looked great.
Dude,
I mean, the action towards the end didn't look too good, like the CGI times.
CGI rhinos or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the humor didn't work for me. That's a main reason as well.
I thought the sister was great.
Yeah. But, dude, yeah. I'm in the vast minority here.
You're good.
Then I got Black Widow.
Oh, I actually like Black Widow. I would put it in the top 20.
Wow. Dude, that's my 22, by the way, right? 23.
Okay.
Then I got Thor Ragnarok, and then I have The Incredible Hulk, which I actually enjoy.
Oh, that would probably be my bottom. I haven't seen that one in 10 years. I haven't seen it shortly after it came out. I think I saw it on TV at some point. And I didn't even realize that was connected, especially since it was then Mark Ruffalo. It took me a long time to get that this was supposed to be in the same universe.
Yeah. I don't understand the hate for that film at all.
I don't think it counts kind of just because they switched actors and never really acknowledge it.
It's been a bit of a mess, yes. But once again, I enjoy all of the MCU films, but those are my 5 least favorites, as according to the list I'm looking at now. It's a very flexible list.
No, I get it. I mean, we can both agree. Civil War, the last 2 Avengers, Guardians 2, Spider-Man, all fucking great.
Yeah, no, but Spider-Man, we disagree a bit. So
I mean, the
first one didn't make your list, right?
No, of course. It was my number
that was
7.
your 7. I apologize. Yes, I forgot about that.
And I would maybe put it on. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
All of my lists are fucking invalid the second that I fucking uttered it.
Sure.
It will change. But anyway.
Yeah. I didn't even include shows in my ranking there because maybe I don't know where I'd rank the shows. I must say that too. I haven't put them in the list.
How would you rank the 3 shows? Just 1, 2, 3.
WandaVision is my 1.
Yeah.
100%. And the other 2, I'd probably go Loki and then Falcon.
I agree.
Those are very tight, those 2.
Sure. Yeah.
And all 3 of them, we had some problems with. So they would be towards the bottom of my list, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah, same. Sadly.
So what's your bottom 3 to wrap this up?
Oh, I don't know. Probably Incredible Hulk, but then again, it's been too long to say anything about this movie. Then probably Iron Man 2, and then just... I wasn't a huge fan of Captain America 1 either. Maybe
Thor 2, right? You don't like Thor 2?
I mean, having rewatched it, I might put even Thor 2 above Captain America 1.
Right. Captain Marvel?
Oh, yeah, it wasn't great either. I thought it had some good elements, but I just don't like the aliens there. The Growl, whatever they're called.
What were they called? Krull?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I was about to say Korg, but that's the guy from Ragnarok. Which we didn't mention Fat Thor in Endgame, obviously. I mean, I'd be lying.
Weird choice.
Sure, I didn't love it, but it definitely worked more. I hated.
It grew on me,
the
to be
Fortnite scene.
Yeah, that was so stupid because it's
so
like years
unnecessary.
later. It just like pandering to the fucking lowest common denominator, which is like young people. What do they like? Fuck it, just put it in there. They should have just made up a game.
Well, I think
But
they
fucking
must
Call
have
of
paid,
Duty.
Well,
There's like Call of Duty every year.
I don't think they did it to be relevant, especially in 5 years' time. But I think they must have paid them a fortune. Epic.
I don't think like the fortune like matters to them anymore. Like, right?
They must have a reason to put it.
I
in.
mean, they could just show like Fortnite very lightly in the background. They would still get millions, right? I mean, it's Disney.
Yeah.
They could just have Coca-Cola everywhere. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. That was so unnecessary.
Yeah. But the rest of the film was fantastic. And I even liked some of the humor with Thor.
Yeah. I mean, the movies look so futuristic, but that reference makes it so dated when you watch it in 5 years.
It's fair. I think no one
knows
expected
what Fortnite is.
No one expected Fortnite to drop off as much as it has. I think it has. Maybe
sure.
I'm sure still millions of people still play it. And by the way, I said wrap this up 5 times. I apologize, but we haven't mentioned old Steve Rogers in Endgame because I have mentioned Chris Evans being one of my favorites. That is also the way he portrays that and the way he hands off the shield at the end. I think it's just so beautifully acted and done that I wanted to list it now.
Sure.
I wanted to mention that moment as well. I want to sort of...
No.
I'm going through the films in my head and I'm thinking of the moments that really stuck with me.
It was a great send-off.
Beautiful.
And I talked about it with Celine, with whom I'm rewatching the movies, and she's like, "Oh, I hope he gets a good ending with like." Because there's this one moment where you think he might get together with the daughter of Agent Carter, which is such a weird fucking decision to have them kiss at the end of Civil War or whenever. Yep. And no, they fucking rectified it and made a beautiful ending.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So we love the MCU. It's ups and downs and everything. I'm still somewhat on board with it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I mean, I agree with you. I think you would say that the hype has kind of died down a little bit, especially after Endgame, but I would agree with that, but I'm still excited to see where it's going to go next. And
sure.
I'm happy we decided to do a list on it today because, we postponed that for many times, many months, many times, and we've always excluded it in certain lists, and it's good now to have one official ranking. At least that's valid for at least today, right? Because it's going to change soon, I guess. So that's it for me. This is a long one. I apologize, but I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for listening. Tell us your favorite MCU films, please, and tell someone about the show. We would love that if you would spread the word. If you enjoyed it, only if you enjoyed it. And we'll be back with another regular episode next week talking about, I guess, Sex Education Season 3.
Yes, I would think so.
Among other things, of course. So thank you so much, and I'll leave the last word up to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. You can listen to the Best Thing We've Seen podcast on pretty much any podcast platform, be it Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can check us out at Best Thing Radio on Twitter and Instagram, where you can check out the thumbnail, which is going to be 4 iconic superhero moments or characters on the thumbnail. You can also check it out on YouTube. Tell us, what is your favorite MCU movie? Are you interested even in the MCU? Are you burned out from it? Tell us in the comments. Give it a like if you're interested. Shout out to Rocket, since we excluded him from the Bradley Cooper special, I guess. Fun character. Yeah, it's been fun talking about this. I hope you enjoyed as well. It might not be for everyone, but if you liked it, we're so glad about that. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have: patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?